It's the Athletes Lives Network exclusive interviews. Today our guest is standout star wide receiver Twan Last Word Kennedy, East Chicago Central, class of 1997. What's going on, Twan?
I'm not chilling, man. Enjoying homecoming.
Yeah, basically, man, as you know, I'm doing these interviews across the state of Indiana from all the great players from EC and other schools. Basically, all I'm gonna get from you today is just your thoughts on growing up in East Chicago, the pressures of being an athlete, your playing days in high school and college, um, a fatal moment you had in your life, and also what you're currently doing now, and what kind of motivation can you give to athletes who may one day be in your shoes. All right, so the first question is tell us about your early influences in sports.
Well, early on, as far as influences, I really didn't have to look too far than my family. I heard a lot about how good my grandfather was, my uncles, and I saw my cousins, my brothers, everybody, they did well throughout high school and, got to go into college and play also. So I took a lot of influences basically from my family.
Okay. Like you said, now you had grandfathers, you had uncles, right? Uncle Sid, Uncle Rob, Uncle Duke. So kind of going to play with them, was a lot of pressure on you, or was it just kind of a easy transition?
I wouldn't call it pressure, more or less. With my family, football is just what we do. I mean, it wasn't a thought process behind it. Like, I knew I wanted to play football. First time I did it, I loved it. Basketball, I was athletic, so I was able to play it, but I never really had fun playing basketball. So I mean, it wasn't pressure. It was more like, I was expected to play, and that's what I wanted to do.
Now, as we all know, in the city of Chicago, your family is heavily involved in sports. Um, what did you want to accomplish as an athlete growing up after coming behind, Bob Gillis, Dino, Chris, and so on?
Basically, I feel like, from my uncles to my brother, could have all played professional football. At some point, something went wrong. My uncle Duke actually got to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, but um, he got jumped or something like that happened. He got blind in one eye and ended up not being able to further go on with his NFL career. So I feel like the next step was for one of us to play professional football, and that was my goal, to be the one in the family to make it to the NFL and to help everybody else out.
Okay. Now, growing up in East Chicago, what peers did you want to compete against, or did you feel like was better than you at that age, that what you wanted to accomplish being the best?
And it's weird because, like, with football in East Chicago, they didn't have nobody playing football as far as my peers, my age group. Um, Me and my cousin Mike, we had to go to Hammond to play Pop Warner football for the Hammond Hawks. And we had a guy in Hammond named Orland Bailey. The kid ended up playing for Hammond Gavitt later on. He had some big numbers. I mean, he used to score 5, 6 touchdowns a game no matter who we played. So I kind of like, watched Orland, and I always wanted my numbers to at least be right where Orland's, if not better.
Okay.
But another thing, though, that was weird, a sports influence I had in East Chicago, it was my peer, was Trey. And that was with basketball. Trey was going to Jordan camps, Nike camps. And then when I would play against him in basketball, it seemed like I always gave my all because I wanted to gauge myself as far as if he did good to go to all these camps. Where am I at?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now let's move to middle school. Growing up, you went to Catholic school, correct?
Yeah, St. Stanislaus.
Now give us your experience on going to a Catholic school instead of going to a public school.
I mean, the Catholic school was a great experience education-wise and discipline-wise. I really didn't know nothing else but Catholic school because I was in there from kindergarten until like the first semester of 7th grade. It was a lot of discipline. I mean, it was all about doing your work. But on the athletic aspect of it, the talent wasn't as good. I was averaging about 26, 28 a game in St. Stan's, and then I transferred to West Side, and I didn't even start. So that was like a kind of like, the breakup of me in basketball right there.
Okay.